This is Bob Barr bringing you another edition of Bob Barr's Laws of the Universe, brought to you, of course, by Liberty Guard. The law of the universe about which we're going to be talking today happens to be Bob Barr's Laws of the Universe, law number 36. That law tells us that if the government says it won't keep the information it gathers on you, rest assured it will. Most recently, this law, which I've seen innumerable times over the years, but most recently it brought to my mind because of the remarks that our Health and Human Services Secretary, the Secretary of HHS, Xavier Becerra, from California, of course, and he used to serve in the Congress, by the way, at the same time I did, so I know him. But Secretary Becerra was responding to some concerns regarding President Biden's statements recently that indicated very clearly that the government wanted to find out and would find out who was vaccinated for COVID and who wasn't. And the president even made the remark that the government was going to find this out, even if they had to come knocking on your door. Well, this concern was brought to Secretary Becerra's attention, and his initial response basically not only clarified that what the president was saying was correct and accurate in terms of the administration's policies, but he confirmed that the government was indeed going to, or already was, collecting information on who was vaccinated and who wasn't. The secretary said basically that as long as government money, that is taxpayer money ultimately, is being used to protect the American public, then the government absolutely has a right to know how that money is being used. In this case, whether or not people have been vaccinated, because the government has spent so much of our money protecting people. So he basically said, you're darn tootin'. The government is going to track who's been vaccinated and who hasn't. Well, I think the secretary realized that what he said, accurate as it might be, concerned people even a little bit more. So the very next day, he tried to backtrack and assured us that his remarks were simply wildly taken out of context, not just taken out of context, but wildly taken out of context, and that he didn't really mean what he said. He didn't really mean that the government was going to gather and keep and database information on who was going to be or had been vaccinated and who wasn't. But those of us who have been around government for a while, or simply those of us as taxpayers and as voters and as citizens who follow what government is doing, we know that what the secretary said with regard to gathering and databasing information on who's been vaccinated and who hasn't is most assuredly going to happen and probably already has. So here again, what Secretary of HHS, Xavier Becerra, has illustrated to us is a perfect example of Bob Barr's Laws of the Universe, law number 36, which says, if the government says it won't keep the information that it gathers on you, rest assured it will. So keep that in mind as we move forward, as you move forward. And whenever the government tries to assure us that it isn't keeping the information that it gathers on us, you know as well as I do that Bob Barr's Laws of the Universe assures us that the government is gathering and keeping that information. Thank you for being with us today for this latest edition of Bob Barr's Laws of the Universe, and we look forward to seeing you again on the next edition of Liberty Guard's Bob Barr's Laws of the Universe. Thank you. This is Bob Barr, and I'd like to thank you for having checked out our program here today. We appreciate your support, your participation, and encourage you to go to libertyguard.org to learn more about our programs and also to help support to further individual freedom and fight against government abuse. One of the ways, but not the only way we do this, is through Bob Barr's Laws of the Universe, but through many, many other programs in support of individual liberty and against government abuse. So please remember to join us. Go to libertyguard.org and join us once again for Bob Barr's Laws of the Universe. Thank you.